Hello, everybody! Welcome back to the Hartford Whalers expansion franchise here on NHL 24. We're now at game 70, and we're currently 6 points out of a playoff spot with 12 games left to play. So I'm not exactly sure how this episode is going to go. These first few games are certainly going to indicate a lot, but we are going to make a move to start this episode. We're going to go over here to roster moves. And this is a guy I really wanted to trade at the deadline, but just didn't really have any interest, and that's Jacob Markstrom. We've traded for him not last offseason, but the offseason before, going into year 2, and he was hurt for a good part of last season, but very good numbers, 26, 12, and 5 shutouts, and all of those came in like a 3-week span. He just went on an unreal run last year, 918 save percentage, sub 2.5 goals against, but now, age 36, it hasn't been the same. His play has kind of dwindled. He's regressed a little bit. Also want to mention he was very good in the playoffs last year. Won us a playoff series, was 6-5 with a shutout, and even better numbers in the postseason. But we actually acquired Yaroslav Askarov a few episodes back at the trade deadline to be our new starting goaltender. So there's really no future here with Markstrom. So I kind of wanted to call someone up, and I wanted to call up to Neil Tarasov. He's probably played in, 12 games so far in the series as our third string, just filling in here and there. But very strong numbers here in the AHL this year. 31, 8, and 2, 9 shutouts, and a sub 2 goals against. So we want to get him at least a couple starts here to wind down the season. So we're going to go ahead and call him up and call down Jacob Markstrom. He is going to have to clear waivers, so we'll see if Markstrom is snatched up by anybody, maybe a playoff team trying to bolster their backup goaltending here in the final stretch. This is another look at our lines just for now. Mangiapane, Scheifele, Wilson on the top line. Carlson, Lawton, and Besser on the second line. They've all been playing very well, although Lawton, his plus-mine is still very bad. Zadina, Steele, and Patrick, I like them on the third line. And on our fourth line, a lot different than what we've rolled with throughout this series. We now have McMichael, Will Coyle, and now Jake Evans as well. Some guys on the bench here, Graham Clark and Hunter Brzustowicz. We'd like to get him a couple more games down the stretch, but we are going to throw Tarasov in as our backup goalie for now. And like I said, we do want to get him a couple starts towards the end of the year here and see if he can kind of establish himself as our backup going into next season. So we'll get right into the simming. Like I said, we are 6 points out of a playoff spot here behind Columbus in the division. The wild card even tougher to get right now. So if we want to make the playoffs, we're going to have to pass up the Islanders and the Blue Jackets here in this episode. So let's go here and hope for a good start against the Flames. Each team under 500 over their last 10. And we take a 2-0 lead after the first. Nolan Patrick and our goalie, the former Flame, Andrew Mangiapane, both of them scoring on Shesterkin. Now up 5-2, they did tie it up. Devin Tays, another big offseason signing they made the past few years along with Shesterkin, and Pelletier tied it up. But then we got 3 in the last 6 minutes. Steele, Besser, and then Wilson. And it looks like we're going to get a win here. We do allow one more there, a power play goal to Lindholm. But we get out with a win, 5-3 here to the Flames. And a good start to the episode. Wilson the first star, Steele the second, and Zadina the third star with 2 assists. So who do we got next? We have back-to-back road games here against Metro opponents in the Flyers and the Capitals. Brett Kulak on waivers, but probably not 32 years old. Maybe if he was a right-handed shot, we would entertain it, but no need for that. And we actually have a big road trip here at Philly, at DC, and then at Seattle. Mason Shaw, that's actually kind of intriguing. We're actually currently scouting him. Only at a 75 overall, halfway scouted. He's only played 17 games the past 2 years with 3 points. 18, a career high a few years ago. And I guess we'll pass on Shaw right now. If anything, he probably will be available in free agency. And now the Flyers. They've had a better year than last year, although still not the best at 31, 36, and 4. But they have a stud winger, Jyrki Kontanen. He was a first overall pick in this past year's draft, and he has franchise potential. So now we did make up some ground to start here, and we'll send this game at the Wells Fargo Center. I'm not quite sure how this episode is going to go. I'm sure we'll probably jump into a live look-in at some point and see how we do. Mantha gets the opening goal, a free agent signing, then Zadina gets one there against Carter Hart. 1-1 going in the second. Now 3-3, a bunch of goals here in Philly. McMichael and Hoffman trade early goals, and Lindell got one 14 seconds after Hoffman to take the lead, and then Jacob Vrana scores late in the period. So we will live sim the rest of this period. We have a power play. Philly killed it off. A lot of shots in this game. Each team over 25, and we still have a good bit to go here in the third. If this game's tied, we actually might jump into it as Nolan Patrick, a shorthanded goal against his former team to put us up. Let's see if we can hold here down the stretch. And we will come out of Philly with a win. Askarov, 28 saves on 31 shots. And Patrick, you love to see that. He gets the 3rd star. Tom Wilson again the 1st star. And Scheifele the 2nd star. Great start to the episode, winning back-to-back road games. And now another one here against the Capitals, who have only won 2 of their last 10. But I feel like we usually play down to teams like this. Hopefully we can make it 3 straight. We're up 1-0 after the first. Zadina, back-to-back games with a goal, I believe. And now 3-0 after 2. Nolan Patrick, another goal. And Mark Scheifele gets a late one. And we get a shutout here. We win 4-0, 3 straight wins to start the period. And our playoff hope's still alive. Yaroslav Askarov, 36 saves, his first shutout as a member of the Hartford Whalers, and hopefully the first of many, many more. I think that's actually a 4-game win streak overall. I think we ended last episode with a win. We'll just take a look here at the calendar. And yeah, we ended with a win against the Rangers. And we scored at least 4 goals in our last 4 games. You like to see that. So we have, I think, 9 games left in the season. And let's see if we can keep up this play. Now at Seattle, another team well under 500. Travis Hamonic on waivers. Still a 2-year contract. He's a right-handed shot, but too old there at 35, so we are going to pass. Now at Seattle, I think they might be at the bottom of the Western Conference. No, they're not. The Golden Knights actually at the bottom. They've really fallen off here in the past 2 years of this franchise, but the Kraken actually 2nd worst in the West. So let's see if we can keep the good times going here as we are set for back-to-back home games against Tampa Bay and Montreal coming up. 1-0 after the first 3 straight games with a goal for Nolan Patrick. He gets one with less than a minute left in the frame. We get one more there in the second, Andrew Mangiapane. And we win 4-1. Askarov stopped 37 shots out of 38, and he's playing out of his mind right now. Mark Scheifele got one. Mangiapane a power play goal with just 18 seconds left in the game. I think he's had 3 in our last 3 games. All right, so now just 2 points out of a playoff spot now with 8 games left, although we do have one more game played than the Blue Jackets. But here against Tampa Bay, and they're actually the top team in the Eastern Conference this year. We actually have their 2nd-round pick in this year's draft, but we'll try to upset them here on home ice. We have Askarov against Vasilevsky. It should be Vasilevsky, I think the fellow countryman, if I'm not mistaken. It is. So Besser got the first goal just barely over a minute in, and then Abe Kubel tied it up later on. And they do open it up here in the second. Sorelli, Sergachev, Heinen made it 4-1. Scheifele got us back there on the power play, but then Corey Perry a late one as Tarasov was inserted into the game. Askarov pulled in this one. And 6-3, Giroux on the power play and Leo Carlsson. So we do fall here, but we can't feel too bad about it. A very good Tampa Bay team. And we actually had the top 2 stars here. Our second line, a good showing. But we were going to lose one eventually. So what does that put us at? 4-1 on the episode thus far. And we'll certainly take that result. I think now, though, we will throw Tarasov in for a start against the Canadiens, who are one of the worst teams in the league. The 2nd worst team in the Eastern Conference this season. And we'll get Tarasov a start. Not ideal, as we're kind of, in the midst of a playoff run, but we can't just be throwing Askarov out there every single game. And now that we're playing an inferior opponent, hopefully Tarasov can post a good performance for us. So now just 7 games left here in year 3. And it should be an interesting finale down the stretch here. Mangiapane broke it open, and then Farrell tied it up. And now up 3-1. Tom Wilson with an early period goal, and then Leo Carlsson. And Montreal comes back to tie it, so I think we actually... No, we're not. We will jump into this. We'll check out this team in overtime and see if we can hang on and beat a very bad Montreal club. And now we're here at the XL Center. Mark Scheifele on the draw against Nick Suzuki. I feel like most overtimes this year have ended very quickly on the first or second rush. Hopefully not the case here. Slavin a shot. And Tarasov makes 2 big stops. Another one there for Caulfield. And Tarasov saves that one as well. Slavin another chance. Loose puck now picked up by Mangiapane. Twirls around in the zone now to Tyson Barrie with 4 minutes remaining in this overtime. Barrie towards the net for Scheifele's shot. And that's a save by Wall. Slavin up the boards. Caulfield a pass there for Suzuki, and he's on a breakaway. Suzuki versus Tarasov. And Tarasov, I thought he had it, but it goes 5-hole and the Canadiens win. What was that? Suzuki, too many dekes there. But I guess not. That just slides through the 5-hole of Tarasov, and the Canadians come back to win, scoring the last 3 goals. And they win in front of our home fans. Not a good thing here. You'd rather, of course, have the 2 points down the stretch here than the 1, but I guess we will take the point, and we've now got points in 5 out of 6 games. Tarasov a little top-heavy there, maybe get a little down more, but what are you going to do? Bad collapse here. We're up 3-1. Montreal, one of the worst teams in the league, comes back to beat us, but like I said, we're playing good hockey, but you never want to fall in front of the home fans, especially in overtime. So that's going to do it here from the XL Center as we fall 4-3. So a tough loss there to Montreal, but like I said earlier, I feel like we kind of play down to those inferior opponents. Although, we did have our backup goaltender in there, so we'll try and get it back here. We played the Islanders, and we're actually separated by a point right now. We're the biggest teams, challenging the Blue Jackets right now. The Islanders 4 points out, we're 5 points out. So a huge game right here, but we do have the home ice advantage. Hopefully we can pull away with a win. The Islanders actually won the Eastern Conference last year, although they fell to Minnesota in the Stanley Cup Finals. Tied 1-1 after one. Matt Barzal gets one, and Samuel Bolduc won 21 seconds later, scoring against his former team. Now we're up 2-1. Will Coyle gets on the board. I think maybe just his second game, or his second goal as a Hartford Whaler. And Brock Besser, we're going to live sim this third period. He gets one very quickly, just a minute 12 into the period. We kill off a power play, and we're still up 3-1 here. They get one back. Bailey gets on the board. Less than 10 minutes left of regulation. Another power play for the Islanders. We kill it off. Now with less than 5 minutes left, and we need to hold on here and win this game. Less than a minute now, and we get it done. A huge win for the Whalers. We leapfrog the Islanders in the standings, and this is probably the biggest game of the year thus far. Samuel Bolduc, the first star against his former team. You love to see that. Now we're set with a matchup with Edmonton, and look at Edmonton, 51-19-7, and they're the second best team in the NHL this year, 1 point behind Anaheim, who have propelled themselves tremendously as the top team in the league. So Edmonton, winners of 9 of their last 10, now just 5 games remaining in this season, and we're currently 3 points out of a spot, although we do have 2 more games played than the Blue Jackets, so we need to keep our heads above water here and win these back-to-back road games in Canada, at Edmonton and then at Toronto. We're going to leave Askarov here in net for this back-to-back. Hopefully he's not too fatigued, though. 1-1 after one. Hyman on the power play, and Sammy Maki got one about a minute later. 4-3, a lot of scoring here in the second. Tolvanen, and then Carlson tied it up, McDavid, and then McMichael, and then Nurse. So we're trading goals here, and we're going to live sim this third period. I would totally accept getting out of here with an overtime loss, but Evander Kane there on the power play gets one. And I feel like we're giving up a bunch of power plays in the past few games. Now, less than 10 minutes of regulation, we're being outshot 33-22. Hartford now on the power play, but we can't score. Now less than 5. We get one there from Nolan Patrick. Hey, come on, let's get one down the stretch here. Less than a minute, and we cannot tie it up. Good fight there towards the end. Patrick has had a ton of goals in this episode, but it doesn't look too good for our Whalers now. Just 4 games remaining in the season, and we need some magic. Now here's a look at our remaining schedule. Like I said, just 4 games remaining. We are 3 points out of a playoff spot, but Blue Jackets have 2 games less played now than we do, so it's not looking too good. At Toronto, who currently hold a wild card spot. At Anaheim, who I mentioned is the best team in the NHL this season. And then at Columbus, which is going to be a huge one if we're still in contention at that point. And then we'll finish at home against Colorado, who are a very good team, currently second in the Central. So all these teams on the remaining part of the schedule to close this year are all playoff teams at this point. So that's not something we like. We'll start it here at Toronto, and really just one loss kind of knocks the wind out of our sails in these final 4 games. Let's hope we can keep it up here against the Maple Leafs. Down 1-0, Austin Matthews on the power play, and our penalty kill has just been putrid down the stretch here. Another goal for Toronto, another one there for Matthews, and we will live sim the rest of this game. Hopefully we can get back in it, get on the board. We are out shooting them as Askarov gives up another one there to Nylander, and now it's just getting frustrating. A huge start to this episode, kind of, kept our hopes afloat. But now these back-to-back losses against Edmonton and Toronto, as they get another one, Nylander, and we're going to lose here 4-0 against the Maple Leafs. Make it 5-0. Jeez, they get another one with 12 seconds left. And I think with that, you can all but put our playoff hopes down the drain. So after that game, we'll get a look at the standings, and 6 spots already clinched. The Blue Jackets actually jumped ahead of the Rangers, and we will go over to the Metro now. So we're really just battling for this 3rd spot, and the Islanders are above us with 83 points. We're at 82, and we're 6 points out from the Rangers, so we need to win every single game, all 3 games, and they need to lose all of them in regulation. So just 1 point from the Rangers. From this point, I think they'll clinch a spot, although the Islanders might still have a shot. Are we actually eliminated at this point? Does division record play into that? I wish it showed division record at this spot. I'm assuming that's the tiebreaker, but I'm not quite sure. But for now, we'll say we're still in contention, but if the Rangers get a point in their last 3 games, we're all but done. And if we lose any of these games, we're done. It doesn't get easy here against the Ducks, and we'll see if we can survive this one. The Ducks at 53, 19, and 8. They've actually been passed up by the Oilers, so it'll be a battle for the President's Trophy here in the final few games between Anaheim and Edmonton. Where it's a tie game, 1-1 after the first. Komutov scores for the Ducks. He was the 2nd or 3rd overall pick in the 2023 entry draft back in episode 2. A good power forward here for Anaheim, and Mangiapane tied it up with 30 seconds remaining. The Ducks get 1 here. Sebastian Aho, a big free agent signing. Last year or the year before. So 2-1 here. We'll live sim this 3rd period, and a loss here. We fall on the season. Provorov ties it up early on in the period. We're still alive. Now Anaheim on a power play, of course. They don't score, and we get 1 there. Nolan Patrick puts us ahead. So I think our playoff hopes for now still alive. Less than 5 minutes remaining, and we're tied up now. Lundestrom ties it up. And I was going to get a live look in here, but we'll just let it play out here in OT. We're definitely, regardless of if we're in the hunt or not in our final game, we'll probably watch that last period of play and just reflect on this season. Nothing there in overtime. The shootout, we fall in a shootout, and we're officially out of playoff contention. I mentioned a few episodes ago that it was probably going to be one of those things where we miss out by like a few points, and instead of getting a high lottery pick, we're going to end up towards the bottom of the lottery. But up and down season for the Whalers. We had some opportunities to pull away and make the playoffs, but it just wasn't going to be the case this season. Some bright spots, but definitely a bridge year, and I think going into free agency, we're going to be able to make some moves and propel this team. I mean, last year we won a playoff series just in year 2, so I think that was a huge building block for us. And next year, I think we'll be more of a formidable team, more complete, and I think probably one of the best in the Metro with how we've built up this team. So Tarasov gets to start here against his former squad, and we're up 1-0 after the first. Brock Besser, an early period goal, although Columbus is pretty much doubling our shots. They get 1 there in the second. We give up another power play goal there to Texier, and then tied up going into overtime again. Sam Steele late, less than a minute left. He tied it up for us. Nothing after OT, so we're going to a shootout again, and we actually win this one. Scheifele, Mangiapane, and Barry with shootout goals. So Daniil Tarasov gets the win. 39 saves for him. Good performance against his former team. We actually selected him from Columbus in the expansion draft, and he might be the backup goaltender next year. So now our final game here in year 3 against Colorado, and like I said, we are going to jump into the 3rd period and just kind of watch how that plays out. We did insert a few of our other guys into the lineup. Graham Clark, Hunter Brzustowicz, just to give him some more time down the stretch. 1-1 after 1. Will Coyle gets another one here against Anaheim. Then Chatfield scores against Askarov. And now 2-1 for Colorado. Another power play goal surrendered here. And we're really going to have to shore up our penalty kill in the offseason. But 2-1 going into the 3rd, our final period of play here in year 3. And let's hope we can rally and get a win and close out the year on a high note. Now Mark Scheifele on the draw against Nathan MacKinnon. And the last time we played against Colorado in a live look, and I believe it was Calamity in Colorado, as I dubbed it. That was a very fun game, and that was last year, I believe. Mangiapane a chance off the faceoff as he squeezed ahead, but then closed off. Ananen freezes it up. Colorado set for another playoff run, although I think they might have missed the playoffs last season, if I'm not mistaken. Mark Scheifele will end as our points leader at 85, over a point per game, and I think that might be the highest thus far throughout the 3 years of this series. Patrick Kane, our points leader the past 2 years, but I think this year Scheifele set a record. Landeskog dumps it in. And following this game, we will get a little draft draft preview, as I think we'll end with like the 14th pick or so. But we do have 3 second-round picks, so I think we're set to maybe trade up in the first. There's a bunch of good prospects in the top 5, which we'll review shortly. So I think maybe package our 14th, 15th pick, whatever it ends up being, along with maybe a couple second-rounders. And I think we might be able to jump into the top 5 and get an instant contributor for next season. For those who are aware follow the NHL draft, Gavin McKenna is actually available this year. Mark Scheifele gets a nice bounce as he's closed off there against a good defense from Cale Makar, and then Anaheim makes the stop. And we're now 16:49 left in this season. Scott Laughton on the draw here against Colton. Scott Laughton on an expiring deal. Not sure how that's going to play out. I think we'll maybe try and get him back for one more year. Tyson Barrie, a rip from the point, goes wide. I think we might try to bring back Laughton on a 1-year deal and just make him a primary third, fourth liner next season. Try to upgrade our second line. Leo Carlsson, he's had a great third season, and he'll probably hit 60, 70 points next year, I would think. And we'll try and stick him with Brock Besser's Pacioretty. A backhand right in front, and Askarov sprawls out for that one. Another shot, and that goes wide. At least we have our goaltending shored up. We are going to have to sign Askarov to an extension, but I don't think we'll see much resistance there. As I've stated in past episodes, I kind of expect him to demand about $5 million or so, as Carlson a chance in front, but couldn't get a clean shot off. Our second line still out there with Carlson, Besser, Scott Laughton, Issa Lindell on defense there with Tyson Barrie. Tyson Barrie probably playing in his last game as a Hartford Whaler. Our Oilers expansion pick back in episode 1, and he's been with us this entire time thus far. So next year, we really won't have many guys from our original team. I think Zadina, maybe Nolan Patrick, a big hit there in the neutral zone. Although that is going to go for a penalty, of course it is, as Tyson Barrie does commit the elbow. 2-minute power play coming up for Colorado. Now I have Nolan Patrick on the draw here on this penalty kill unit. And we'll see if we can kill one off. Hasn't gone too well here. Shot right off the face-off pad save as Brzustowicz tries to clear it out. Can't quite, but Bolduc finishes the job. Now trickles into Colorado territory. And Brzustowicz, our second-round pick back in year 1, along with that Leo Carlsson draft. Landeskog shot in front, blocker saved by Askarov. But Brzustowicz might be on the roster next season, not quite sure. Might have to open in the AHL as another chance in front for Colorado, but Askarov's there to slam the door. Our top priority in the offseason, we definitely have to shore up our defense, and we need a right-handed defenseman. Next year we'll have none. Tyson Barrie will move on. Sean Walker will move on. We do have Brzustowicz, but I'm not quite sure on him. So we're definitely going to have to bring in a top-notch guy. I think Rasmus Anderson from Calgary is set to be on the market, along with a few other guys. Brandstrom from Ottawa, an offensive defenseman. And there are a few more that I can't quite think of right now. But we're going to be active. Jacob Trouba, I think, was another one. We're going to try and make some moves and bolster this team as we tend to do. Last year, Brock Besser was our big signing along with Ivan Provorov. And both of them have proved to be phenomenal investments as Provorov forces a turnover there in the neutral zone. Less than 30 seconds on this Avalanche power play. Sami Maki will clear it out. Oh, he does not. McKinnon keeps it in. Provorov now with it, and he does clear it out. Sami Maki, we hope he can take a big step forward next year in his third season, which he should. He took a big step forward here in his second year, the number 1 overall pick back in 2024 after he won the draft lottery. Landeskog picks it up as Hartford does kill the power play. Hopefully our last penalty of the season. McKinnon drives in towards the net, and it won't be, as slashing there from Maki, and that's a soft call. What are we doing? So the Avalanche go right back to the power play, and the refs have not been kind to us. In our last episode, I believe it was, we played against Detroit, as Askarov, a big save there, a good wrist shot there from the slot. Askarov's been very active here down the stretch, but last episode we played against Detroit in Askarov's debut, and we were called for 6 penalties compared to just 2 for Detroit. I get, some teams are a little less disciplined than others, but there's a certain point that you're just being targeted, I feel like. Now playing patty cake there at the point. Pacioretty now to Lehkonen into Colton. Shot blocked by Lindell. I'm sorry, that was Barrie giving up the body. Now loose puck picked up by Barrie. As we're now halfway through this third period. That kills off 40 seconds thus far. Pacioretty will give up to Colton. Colton skates in. Swerves to Pacioretty. He works his way up. Blocked there in traffic, I think by Steele. Machiskin to Lehkonen. Back to Smith. And good job there by Sam Steele to disrupt that one and get it out. Jake Evans now takes it across the blue line into the zone. Sam Steele in front for Barrie, and a good pass there. Barrie just couldn't quite get the angle. Battling there with Pacioretty now in front, and a blocked shot. I think that was Evans on the shot. Now Lehkonen will take it the other way. 20 seconds on this power play. Colton in front, his shot save. Into the corner, picked up by Smith. Loose puck now, Provorov will get it. He passes to Sam Steele. And they do clear the zone, and that is going to do it here as Hartford kills off another Colorado power play. Nichushkin, his pass intercepted by Steele. Steele, pass there for Patrick. Nolan Patrick, a very good season here. Back for Provorov, a shot, and that's blocked. Patrick now with it off the ricochet. Besser, a chance, save Ananen. I think that's how you pronounce it, right? Ananen? Now behind the net as Colorado will take it. Nichushkin, his pass goes astray. Now behind the line. Provorov with it behind the net as he skates up ice. Long pass up the boards. A good pass for Lawton. He has some space. Lawton closed off there. Good defensive play. I think that was Gerard, perhaps, number 49, right? Rantanen dumps it in. Picked up here by Samuel Bolduc. He's going to battle for a spot on the roster next year. Our expansion pick from the Islanders back in episode 1. Leo Carlsson dumps it in, leading the charge here. Gerard picks it up. Carlson can't quite get a clean hit as McKinnon will. Does McKinnon just stay on the ice the whole period or no? His pass back for Landeskog blocked in traffic. McKinnon had a prime spot there to just take a shot. Opts for the pass. Now Besser dumps it in. Less than 5 remaining in regulation. Hartford still down 1 goal. Landeskog for McKinnon. Or for Rantanen. Good save by Askarov closing that angle. Loose puck up the boards now. Scheifele will get it. Battling there with Rantanen. Scheifele now over for Samuel Bolduc. Bolduc looking at his options, gives to Tom Wilson. Wilson hit down to the ice, gets it off for Scheifele. Now Mangiapane, and Manson closes that off. Just over 3 minutes remaining in this Hartford season, unless we could force overtime. Kurashev, a shot. Good pad save by Askarov, picked up by Manson now. Kurashev again for Manson on the side of the net. Spins away, in front for Manson, another shot. Askarov save, shot by Malgin. Goes wide. Colorado picks it up along the boards. Now Kurashev back with it in front for Kaut. As Mangiapane will take it over. Less than 2 now. Mangiapane goes off a man. Working toward the net. Back here for Bolduc. Over for Wilson. A backhand. And a good stop there by Ananen preserving the lead. Tom Wilson was robbed. And that was a good setup. 1:32 now remaining. Sam Steele on the draw here against Ryan Johansson. Tied up. Picked up by Colorado. Byram still on the Avalanche here in this series. He'll dump it in. Picked up here by Provorov. Less than a minute now in regulation. Hartford probably going to pull the goalie as they enter the zone. Zadina now with it. Askarov goes to the bench. Maki, a shot. Glove save by Ananen. 28 seconds with the extra attacker out there. We need to win this draw. Lawton wins that back for Lindell. Now Scheifele to Besser. Lindell back to the point, and that's going to go wide, and they're going to have to reset here and waste some crucial seconds. Really not getting going here. Besser will take it in. 14 seconds remaining. Besser a shot. Rebound in front. And how did that get kept out? Oh my goodness. I thought that was going to dribble in. And Byram kept it out somehow. And it looks like Colorado is going to stave off Hartford here as we fall in our regular season finale. Hartford misses the playoffs for the second time in this series. Not a bad season, though. I think we put some, we just missed out. You know, some teams were just a little bit better than us. We put together a little poor stretch there at one point during the season, especially in the beginning, and we just kind of dug ourselves into a deep hole that we couldn't climb out of. But a very good season here for the Whalers, and we're going to do better and get better in the upcoming offseason. But stick around, and we'll have a little draft preview to end. I don't go back to replays very often, but I really have to on this one. So look at this. Besser takes the shot. Classic rebound right in front. Lawton can't really shoot it. He pokes at it, though. And look, it's in the crease. He does chip at it there. And it's off the post. It's off like the inside part of the post. I don't think Byram even hit it. Like, what? That's crazy. At least we were eliminated from playoff contention because, and look at Ananen. He's like just totally turned the other way. Imagine that was to like not give us playoff contention if we needed a point in this game, and that's how it ended. That is absolutely crazy. So that's going to do it for the regular season here in year 3, and I'm sorry we missed the playoffs. I know it's a little disappointing, but We're still building very early in this expansion team, and we have a lot of good pieces moving forward that are going to be back next year. So we look ahead to the offseason, although first we will get a little draft preview. Although, no, let's look at the standings. At this point, it doesn't give us the playoff tree quite yet, but everything is decided. I don't want to sim ahead because I have a little spreadsheet that I like to put all our stats in, so I'm going to get to that. And Anaheim actually does end as the President's Trophy winners. 8 teams here at 100 points. Anaheim, Edmonton, Tampa Bay led the East, followed by Florida. So I guess Florida is just a hockey state now. I think we have to accept that. Colorado, Arizona, a very good season from them. Carolina, Ottawa, looks like they're on the uptick, 100 points. Chicago, Nashville, rounding out the top 10. And we actually made the trade with Nashville for Askarov, and it looks like they made the playoffs. Toronto, Columbus, Buffalo. Detroit missed. Wow, Detroit tied with Buffalo for 92 points, but I guess because of the win, Buffalo had one more win. They get the playoff spot. New York gets in as a wild card. Or no, so look at that. Detroit had more points than did New York, but Rangers finishing third in the division sneaked into the playoffs just 1 point over the Islanders, although they had equal wins at 41. Winnipeg gets in. Calgary gets in. Big bounce back year from them. They pretty much given away all their players. Wow, San Jose missed the playoffs. They were one of the best teams to start the season, and they must have collapsed down the stretch. We traded them Victor Arvidsson and Dmitry Orlov, and it looks like after that they just fell apart. Minnesota, the reigning Stanley Cup champions, missed the cut. Hartford here at 85 points. Vancouver, St. Louis, Philly, Dallas, Washington, LA, Pittsburgh, Boston. Wow, it's weird to see Boston all the way down here. I think we actually have their second round pick this year as well, so that should be a good one. Seattle, big drop off here though. Montreal just 65 points, 29, 46, and 7. Vegas, and then New Jersey, the Devils finished as the worst team in the league, 26, 50, and 6. So let's go over the Eastern Conference and see what the matchups are going to be. So I believe I'm going to go to the other menu. It's a little bit easier to look at it that way. So I think in the Metro, Hurricanes have the top spot. Lightning are going to play the Sabres, I believe. And I think the Hurricanes are going to play the Maple Leafs, the other wild card. And then we'll have Panthers, Senators, Blue Jackets, Rangers. In the Western Conference, we'll have Anaheim against Winnipeg. And then I think Colorado against Nashville. And then we'll have Arizona against Chicago and the Oilers against the Flames. So that's a big rivalry there, right? The Oilers and Flames. Oilers, though, finished with like 30 more points in the regular season. But if my math is correct, we're going to have like the 14th overall pick. And right now we'll check out the draft class and see who some options would be. Looking at the top, though, we got 3 gems at the top of the draft board. And that's what I was saying. I think we might work a trade. We're going to have 3 second-round picks along with like 13, 14, or 15 overall. And I would really like to trade up for one of these guys, including Gavin McKenna here. I know he's like a stud in present day, a really high-profile prospect. So I think it would be cool to bring him in, a left-wing center, although we don't have his play style fully scouted. But 50 goals in the WHL, and I think he might come in as a sniper. A few other left-wing snipers here in Prokorin and Jimmy Redmond, USA. And we'll scroll down. So yeah, it looks like it's projecting us at like 11 or 12. I know the stars here on the left are usually higher than what we're projected. So we're probably at like the 12 to 14, I'm going to say. And I really like Nicholas Mullen here, 10th on the board. Our scouts say he's 9. Great puck mover, elite speed, heavy slap shot, although he's not fully scouted. But we really need a right-handed shot, so I wouldn't mind trading up for him if we're not able to trade up into like the top 5. Otherwise, a more realistic option here. We don't really have these guys fully scouted right here. Benjamin Kolp, I actually really like him, a right-handed two-way defenseman. So I think if we stand pat at our pick, he's going to be the guy. He said he's NHL ETA 1 year comparison to Marc-Edouard Vlasic. A- in shooting, B across the board, although B- for defense. Leadership ability, shutdown ability, and mobility. Personality, a fantastic leader, has a pro mentality, cares about winning, and seems very loyal. So the type of character we definitely want to bring in to this locker room, but we'll keep our options open, and a trade up would be very nice. Milan Roosevelt, a center, a right-handed center, and we definitely need a little more forwards in our organization. This guy here at 24, but 16th, according to our scouts, a right-handed, looks like a sniper, still not fully scouted. We'll have to go back on him. But we'll scroll down here to the second round. So yeah, I think this is the Boston pick. They have us here at like 38, so I think Boston will have like the 7th pick or so. And any options here noteworthy? A lot of these guys still working on scouting for Caden Springus. Not fully scouted, but he says he's probably the highest ranked in this tier. Maybe McKenzie here, Caleb McKenzie, a winger, left-handed shot. I like this guy, offensive defenseman. I don't think we have any offensive defensemen really in the system. AJ Oljevic out of the Liga. Looks like he has pretty good attributes. Elite low potential, 4 years ETA, so someone I definitely would consider there in the second round. Gustavo Whitfield, a right-handed defenseman. Like I said, we really need a right-handed defenseman. Skylar Takashi. He's a left-handed shot, but a right defenseman. A lot of these guys we don't have fully scouted, but we will get there. Sven Helmerson, a right-handed defenseman. Definitely need to fully scout him. This is a pretty good value right here. Cameron Quenneville, 50th scout rank, but 58th on the overall board as center. And we really need right-handed defensemen and centers. Grinder here, 56th on our board. I think we actually, we only had 3 draft picks last year. We traded a bunch of picks to get players like Markstrom, Lindell. So they did pay off. Fukufuji looks like a pretty solid player. And he does have a few superstar abilities here so far. Trusolence. I've never seen that one. There was a goalie that I really like. Not Lettinen. He only has... So, Lettinen here is the top-rated goalie on the board. But he only has starter potential. There was someone down a little bit more who I wanted to get to. And we didn't bother scouting anyone here like in this 80s range because we don't have a 3rd or a 4th round pick in this year's draft. So, it was kind of a waste to spend scouting on guys we really didn't have a shot at getting. Although I don't like how that we don't really find any busts in that range. So down here at Tate Springus, elite medium potential as a 4th round goaltender, and I think he's someone we're definitely going to target. Other than that, really no one of note down here. Any more gems? So all the gems we have scouted are all the first 3 picks in the draft, and I don't know how that really considers them a gem, to be honest, but what are you going to do? So Noah Lutz opens as the top prospect, and he's kind of held that the whole time. Zachariah Reichel, George Hobbs, and then Gavin McKenna. So we're hoping we can maybe trade into the top 4 and get one of these guys. Ideally, one of the forwards, although George Hobbs, he's kind of similar to Sammy Maki, who we already have, so that would give us 2 lockdown left-handed defensemen, but we would like to go, we'd like to vary a little bit. So I think McKenna is going to be our option, our top option, and hopefully we can work a trade up. But that was just a little dive into the draft, into scouting, our prospects that we're going to be targeting. I am going to have like a nice board all laid out. We have like another 2 months of scouting, so we are going to reveal a lot more in that time. So next episode, we'll review the regular season, go over our stats, and then we'll simulate through the entirety of the playoffs. And it looks like Edmonton and Anaheim come in as the favorites, but I don't think Anaheim is quite ready to pull off a Stanley Cup championship. So who are we going to project wins it here? Tampa Bay, very strong. I think it might be a Tampa Bay-Carolina final. But Edmonton, they actually they won the Stanley Cup in year 1 against Boston. Missed it last year, I believe, and now back towards the top. So they'll try and win their 2nd in 3 years. Kind of try to establish a dynasty going on there with the Oilers. But the West has actually won the past 5 Stanley Cups to this point, I believe. So we'll see if they can keep that streak going. But this is where I'm going to leave you, folks. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. I'm sorry we couldn't, make the postseason this year, but throughout the course of the year, I kind of didn't really expect to. But like I've been saying, we're going to come back stronger next season. We're going to have a very eventful offseason. We're going to have a lot of early draft picks and try and trade up and get an instant contributor in here to, propel us into playoffs, back into playoff status last year. But as always, everybody, it's been real and be well. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.